Welcome to Courageous Creative Conquerors. I'm your host, Jean Boyce Dart, expressive arts psychotherapist, credentialed teacher, and coach. It's my belief that we are all courageously creative and destined to navigate our way through life, learning how to feel, reveal, and heal. And we do this safely and effectively through the expressive arts. Hi everyone, Jean Boyce Dart here with Courageous Creative Conquerors, and I have my special guest, Bradford Tilden, master healer, and I'm just so excited to have you here today, Bradford.
Thank you, Jean. I'm so honored to be here. Absolutely love you. I love your energy. I love what you do for the world. And so very excited to see where this goes today.
You know, even though we're newish friends, I just felt an immediate deep connection with you, and I love and support everything that you do. So I'm excited to share that with the world. Thank you for being here. And you're such a perfect fit for Courageous Creative Conquerors. Let's talk about that for just a minute and go deeply with that. When you hear those words, what does that mean to you, and how have you been courageously creative?
That's such a great and important question. I'm actually getting a little emotional right now as you're asking me a question that aligns with my true soul's purpose, which is very challenging to manifest in the world when it has to do with creativity and expression. I, for me, it has a lot to do with channeling my emotions that I don't have words for, that I can't articulate through some sort of expressive medium. And very early on, for me, it was original piano music and also poetry. When I was younger, and I was getting all these crazy, crazy feelings, emotions, sensations, things that other people I couldn't open up to people, and it just was just bursting out of me. And when I would play those pieces, the language of music, which surpasses word, was able to lift and process my emotions in a healthy way as a sort of a transmutation, so that I didn't act out. I didn't do anything that would be detrimental. You know, it was a very, very positive, cathartic process of transmutation of really strong emotions through that creative portal. And as a gift to the world, it incites the same sort of healing and release to others. You know, the power of music, the power of expression, the power of art, as you well know. So yeah.
That just resonates with me so much because I was super hypersensitive and I didn't really know that that was what was going on. Would you say you were hypersensitive as a child?
Yes, absolutely. And I didn't really understand it at the time. I didn't really understand that that was a thing. I wouldn't call it a diagnosis or anything, but it's just an attribute, like a medium. Like it's like once you understand you're a medium and that you can converse with, people on the other side, it's not frightening. And, the feelings and the sensations that I would get and the insights into other people's emotional truths that I can't even remember a lot of my childhood because I had to wall up, and wall up in order to protect myself, in order to protect my field from negative energy. And because I was walled up, I believe that's why the energy had to go somewhere, and it came out again through the creative expression. And I'm so grateful that I had those outlets that I was inspired to develop. And it was also just something that I just did naturally, and I didn't do it for anyone else. And I think that's really important because there was an authenticity and a rawness and an unrefined quality to the expression because it just is stuff I had to get out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And, there's a part of me, I, there's a part of me that has this grieving because of that journey, which I know there's people out there that are going through that. Um, being super sensitive and feeling like they're different and everything. But there's also a part of me that just feels so much joy and gratitude that I had that in my family, that my mother and sisters and my father, that the creative uh, doorway was open. They provided me with piano lessons and
Mhm.
opportunities to draw and express. And I found my way to get all that out. And I think today about people that maybe wouldn't have had that in their family, any kind of creativity offered, and maybe struggled to find their way to express. And what do you say to someone out there that's maybe finding this overly sensitive being that they were blessed to be brought in the world in, and how to manage that?
There's an innate inner trust that I believe all hypersensitives are born with, because we ultimately only have our personal experience to to go by, to be guided by, and and even if other people tell us that's wrong, or not to feel those ways, we still, they're valid, because they're our bodies experience, our bodies perceive and hold the truth about us,
Yeah.
and at our core we know that to be true, and that is where these this is so weird. They're saying these compensations come from, but art isn't compensation at all. It's something more profound than that. But it's ways that you, and coping isn't even the right word either, but it's ways that you construct your identity through these means that can't exist within you because you are too big for the physical vessel.
Yes, yes, yes. And let's talk about your spiritual guides. And I just love all that. And you constantly checking in and hearing and channeling that. And then initially recognizing, oops, can't talk about that. What about these people? Yeah, no, okay, yeah. And how did you journey through that and be comfortable with that, and find a way to make that just such a part of your life and a part of your gift as a master healer? Tell us a little bit about the beginnings of that and what that is, why that is so important to you.
That's a really difficult question in a lot of ways, because when I look back at my childhood, there were moments. I'm gonna be honest here. There was a moment in seventh grade, which was really the most significant moment, other than being visited and by ETs and seeing golden glowing beings outside of my window, was that Jesus visited me, and he appeared to me and he gave me a golden cross, and that was right before I came into a lot of unpleasant people, peers in junior high, that were very abusive to me. And I remember the one girl, she sent the school bully on me. I've never really shared this before. And he was gathering with his friends outside the bus, and I just walked past him, and he came up behind me and he punched me in the back of the head, and I didn't feel any pain, I didn't feel any stars. I kept walking. I literally turned the other cheek, and all of his friends were saying, "What happened? What happened? Did you hit him?" And they were so confused, but they never bothered me again. And it was quite something. That was really the first physical enactment of spiritual embodiment that I achieved. It was like a test, and so that's really, when you ask that question, that's where it goes. In terms of other than having Jesus materialize in front of me, and other than that, the next major thing was in freshman year of undergrad. Archangel Michael appeared in my dorm room above me, and he handed me a flaming sword. And then Plato, the ascended master, visited me in a dream, and all this other stuff. And they were just early-ish. I was already 19 or 18 years old at that point, but they were preparing me for my awakening, which came alongside, and I've written about this in one of the Brave Healer books, alongside my HIV diagnosis. And that diagnosis sprung me into a spiritual awakening. And shortly after that is when I was in a sound healing school, pursuing my passion. That's when I felt a boop, and then the guides, I started hearing the guides. So I was blocked and shielded for the reasons being that I needed to journey, and I needed to journey alone, or feeling alone. I felt very alone for a very long time, very isolated, but loving myself and expressing and creating and generating all this wonderful music, and excelling in school and hungry for knowledge. But I felt solitary, and I didn't have anyone to relate to. And until I started to find, as they say, my tribe. But that didn't really happen until I found authenticity and I discovered who I am, because I spent so many years shielding myself from other people. And that was, I called this like the hollow. I think I wrote this also somewhere else, like the hollow. I was like a hollow man. My scaffolding was a defense, and there was nothing inside until I started receiving higher guidance and filling in. And that's really, I still do that. Like when I meditate, periodically I'll get beams of light energy that just like a laser, like it's like zapping me and filling me and strengthening me. Like I'm literally being filled in to this physical vessel, my true self, which maybe didn't really fully incarnate initially, which I believe because of some peak other experiences that I don't even have time to go into right now. But I'm kind of totally lost on what we were talking about.
There's a lot coming out there. There's a lot coming out there. Yeah, I just want to say that this is a super safe space. You're not alone. There are people out there that are so grateful that you shared that. There are probably other people out there watching and saying, whoa, this is wow. This is way too much, maybe thinking you're delusional. And, that's not who this session is for right here.
Right. Right.
And you made it very safe. And I'm just applauding you for your courage in sharing that, what you experienced and how you navigate that, and how that has created this life that you have right now, where you found your group and you are participating in the physical, yet still living in the spiritual and higher realms at the same time. And that's something that we all should be wanting to do, in my opinion, to maintaining that, so thank you so much for sharing that. Let's hear a little bit more about what you do in your work, in your vocation, and how you started your business. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah.
Oh. My whole life has been intuitively guided. I talk about not feeling alone and not talking with my guides. It was really my soul was really my guide. My intuition was my guide. I'm extremely into it. And just like everything else, so when I had that spiritual awakening, I quit my day job. I was in a corporate accounting position for 6 months as a temp to hire. And I made it. I stood there and I looked up to the universe, and I just had a conversation. I said, and this was right around when I was diagnosed as well. I said, I know I am meant for more than this, what I was currently doing, the accounting, and I'm willing to take that leap of faith as long as I am supported. And I took that leap of faith, and I started my business. I started with massage, and I started with music. well, I was already a certified massage therapist. I have, strategy, but I did that in San Francisco, which is a very expensive city. and then gifts started coming, gifts of people, gifts of opportunities, gifts of the breadcrumbs started falling. And then that's when I really found the sound healing school, and ultimately was guided to white time healing, and abundance came. I was always provided for, and I still am very, very gracious and generous, generously provided for by the universe, by everything in my life, by you, by this moment. And so, yeah, it's been a slow build, and just with opportunity, and just meeting some incredible people who facilitated the ability for me to do some things I wouldn't have been able to do if it was just a financial transaction, because that's really, the world doesn't really operate like that. And that's a limiting approach. There's possibility to achieve everything you want just by believing it's possible and being open to receiving the way or ways that it can happen for you. I feel that 100%. That's not very specific about what I do, but what I do is, again, I work with vibration, I work with crystals, I work with sound, I work with energy, I work with language to expand the capacity of the individual to break down the limiting blockages and beliefs that they've acquired, because we all incarnate as a pure spark of the divine that has a inherent radiance and color and frequency, and we're supposed to shine it out. And there's no limit or no law as to how you're supposed to do that. It's how you want to do that. And for me, it's the joy. Whatever brings the greatest joy is your inherent truth.
Yes.
And I help people uncover that. People who have shrouded it with doubt or shrouded it with external blankets, blanketing, labels, trauma, all that stuff that hides it, but it never takes it away. It's always there.
For those who are out there and really going through some challenges, it might be physical, it might be mental, emotional, sociological, maybe they're being bullied or don't feel they fit. Whatever that challenge might be, do you have a quick tip for something that they can do wherever they are, where they don't need extra paraphernalia or things, something that they can do right now, wherever they are, to help them?
What's coming to me, because there's so many things, we really are not alone, and each of us has a guardian angel or spirit. Ask them for help. Just find your quiet, find yourself wherever you are, and ask an angel. Just, you don't even have to believe in them, but ask an angel to give you some love, healing, and support. We are not alone. We're not alone on the planet, and we're not alone in this dimension. I'm not alone in this room. I can tell you that right now. So I honestly, I think that's one way to start the process of building inner confidence, is to draw on the support of an agent of higher consciousness that has already chosen to work with you because they love you unconditionally, to help you learn to love yourself unconditionally. Yeah.
Such a beautiful way to end our time here, Bradford. Thank you. Thank you so much. And before we go, can you share how they can find out more about you and reach you?
My website is crystalmusichealing.com, and I'm on my Instagram a lot. It's simply my name, Bradford Tilden, Instagram.com, Bradford Tilden. I do almost daily live streams of spiritual inspiration, and then toning with my bowl to give some angelic blessings. And you can just contact me there, reach out to me. And yeah, I've got some online stuff coming up, some classes and workshops, which you can find on my website. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bradford, and thank you, all of you, for joining us on Courageous Creative Conquerors. And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.